The call left Iriseth's studio by mistake. He was a caretaker for the old relay tower on Thalen 4. He kept it clean, oiled the hinges, and ran tests each week. That morning he checked a dusty console. A message buffer flashed. He meant to send a test ping to a local depot. His fingertips slipped on a cracked key. The console hummed and sent an SOS into deep space through a very old path. The screen said, "Message sent." Iriseth froze. He tried to cancel it, but the signal was gone, already bouncing from mirror to mirror out beyond maps he had ever seen. He ran to the council hall. The hall was simple stone with open windows and a breeze from the hills. The councilors listened with wide eyes while he spoke. "It was an error," he said. "It went out on the legacy band. It could reach anyone." The chief counselor, a careful elder, pressed his hands together. "We will hope," he said, "that no one hears, or that someone kind hears." For 3 days life held its breath. Farmers watered pale crops that never seemed to drink enough light. Engineers watched the old orbital ring like a parent with a worried child. It turned and sometimes it stuttered. A tiny timing fault made it drift, then correct, then drift again. Ships in the small port flew with caution. News carried soft and unsure words. On the 4th day, the sky changed. A cool shadow moved across the high blue. A long white line appeared like chalk on glass. Then there were many lines. A fleet stepped down from silent speed, each ship easing into view like a lantern coming on at dusk. They were bright but not sharp. Their metal looked gentle, as if polished by kind hands. They formed a slow spiral above the world. A steady song of math and music played on open channels. It was not loud. It was calm and clear. "Hello," the song said in simple pictures. "We heard your call. We brought help." People gathered in the fields. Some reached for tools as if tools would fend off trouble. Some hid in doorways. A child started counting ships out loud, lost count at 20, and laughed because the shapes looked like birds with long wings. Iriseth watched from the relay hill. His hands shook, then steadied. "They came," he whispered, not sure if he should be glad or afraid. The council sent a reply. "We did not mean to call," the message said. "We have needs, but we fear the price." The human Armada answered with a simple image set. It showed hands passing bread. It showed a person fixing a roof and leaving a note that said, "No charge." It showed a classroom where people of many kinds looked at a chalkboard, then at each other, and smiled. A voice followed. The voice had a warm tone. "This is Admiral Lena Park," it said. "We come under the Promise Charter. We do not invoice kindness. We record all work. We leave open logs you can read at any time. We help only if you agree. We will not change your law. We will ask before every step." Shuttles drifted down like seeds on the wind. They did not rush. They did not mark the ground. They floated to rest in a field the council had marked as a landing common. The first group to step out wore simple suits that looked clean but not strange. They carried scanners that looked like instruments for music. The scanners hummed softly. A human interpreter bowed, then spoke words that a local translator bead shaped into the colony's trade language. "We come to listen first," she said. Iriseth stood at the edge of the crowd. He had not slept well. He worried that his mistake would cost his world its freedom. He watched Lena Park walk forward. She was not tall and not small. She had patient eyes and a plain gray coat. She did not come with guards. She came with a teacher, a gardener, and a code worker. She shook hands or touched fingertips or tilted her head as each person preferred. She asked if anyone was hungry or tired from waiting. People blinked, a little surprised, and said they were fine. In the council hall, Lena listened to needs. The air filters in 2 valleys were weak and left a taste of copper in the throat at night. The soil had lost some friendly life and did not welcome seeds the way it used to. The ring above had a software memory that dated back many years, and its guidance tick was slowly losing step. The colony feared a slip that could send debris into the sky lanes. The council also feared strings. "We have seen help that was not help," the elder said. "We have seen help that became a chain." Lena opened a small projector. The Promise Charter appeared as a short, clear document. It spoke of gifts, records, and consent. It stated that help was not a contract. It allowed any host to say enough at any time. It required her fleet to keep open logs that anyone could copy. It had a line that many people read twice. "The receiver owes nothing except honest answer and shared tea." The elder read the whole thing out loud. When he finished, the room was quiet. He looked at Iriseth. Iriseth nodded, still unsure but a little lighter. The human team started by walking. They walked the markets, the workshops, the little paths between homes, and the rows of thin crops. They asked simple questions. What hurts your day? What takes too long? What wakes you at night? They watched the sky when the ring passed overhead and listened to the tiny flutter that a code worker could hear, the way a musician hears a sour note. They never opened a box without asking. They never wrote a line of code without a local at their side. Their open logs showed every plan, every test, and every small change. A school teacher from Earth visited the local school. She brought picture cards of many worlds and many words. She asked the children for their words, too. They traded names for fruit. They traded names for clouds. A shy child offered a poem about rain that falls without sound. The teacher asked if she could copy it to the ship library with the child's name on it. The child stood taller. His friends clapped softly, and the worry in the room loosened a little. In the workshop by the spaceport, a human coder named Ravi looked at the ring's guidance files with a local engineer named Sen. They found 2 lines that did not belong together anymore. The ring's main loop counted time in one way. An old patch counted time in another. The 2 side by side made the ring pause and catch up, pause and catch up. It is like a dancer who hears 2 drummers, Ravi said. Sen smiled. We can teach the drummers to play one beat, she said. They wrote a tiny fix, but they did not press apply. They took the fix to the council and explained it twice, once in code and once in pictures. As days passed, a new worry floated in from far space. The old relay band had been part of a larger empire long ago. That empire had left behind offices, stamps, and a habit of claiming credit. A message arrived from a polite agency far away. It said that aid must be coordinated under old rules, and that a third party would supervise any repair and any harvest. The council felt their stomachs tighten. They looked to Lena. Lena did not raise her voice. She showed the promise charter again and the public logs. We came because we heard a voice ask for help, she said. We are guests. We follow your law. We can show our work to anyone, but we will not trade your piece for paperwork you did not ask for. The agency did not push hard. They sent one more note that sounded official and a little sad, as if they knew their papers were thin. The colony signed nothing. The Armada kept working, and the logs kept recording, and anyone with a receiver could read them. A few nearby worlds started to tune in, curious. The logs showed small actions. A water pump greeted by name for the first time in years, and it hummed a little smoother after a gentle cleaning. A greenhouse roof washed with warm rain and quiet brushes, and the light inside felt like morning. A soil plot received a tiny nursery of helpful microbes from Earth, the kind that hug roots and help them sip. Some of the plots did not like the newcomers, so the gardeners tried a different mix without shame or fuss. It was all careful, all slow, and all asked for in plain language. Iriseth met Lena on the relay hill as dusk came. The ring moved like a thin bracelet in the purple sky. He wanted to say thank you, but the word felt too thin. He also wanted to say he was still afraid, and that word felt too big. He said, I did not mean to call. You could have turned away. You did not. Lena watched the ring, then the fields. The kites for shade lay folded nearby, ready for trials. On Earth, she said, we learned a simple truth. When a neighbor knocks, even by mistake, you open the door. If you can help, you do. If you cannot, you sit with them until the worry passes. Both are forms of care, he breathed out a long, soft breath. What if the people who owned this relay long ago come back? He asked. What if they ask us to pay for what you did? Lena shook her head. They can ask, she said. You will answer with your own voice. And our logs will show what happened, who did it, and why. Sunlight is a good friend in times like that. The next day brought a small ceremony, not for show but for trust. The council invited the human teams to sign the repair plan in chalk on a long slate, along with locals who would work with them. Children drew stars in one corner. Someone added a cup of tea drawn in white. People laughed, soft and warm. The slate went on the wall of the hall where anyone could read it. Work began at dawn. The mirror shade kites were light as paper and strong as wire. They rose on thin lines from the hilltops and hung in the blue, making gentle patterns of cool light across the fields. The air felt different under them, like stepping under a tree. The filters in the valley got new membranes grown in ship labs while the team waited for council approval. Old frames. Morning came with soft gold light on the hills. The kites sent cool shade over the first fields and the air tasted clean. People walked slower, Not because they were tired, but because they wanted to feel this new quiet. In the market square, a baker opened her stall and smiled at the first customers. "The dough rose better," she said, pleased as a child who solved a puzzle. The filters had cleared the night. The yeast was happy. Small things like that spread through talk, and the day grew bright. The open logs showed the night pass of the ring. One steady line, one steady song. Sen marked a star next to the timestamp and added a note in plain words. "The dancer now hears one drum." Ravi saw the note and laughed. He drew a tiny drum next to it and wrote, "Agreed." People liked reading logs that sounded human. It helped the work feel close to them. Lena met the council in the hall again. She brought tea leaves from the ship's stores. The leaves gave a clean smell that lifted worry out of the room. She put a short list on the table. It had 3 parts: farms, air, and code. Under each part, she wrote small steps with boxes to tick. She left blank lines for local ideas. The elder read it and nodded. "We can do this," he said, slow and strong. Eerie Seth listened at the back, glad to hear those words. Slow and strong felt like safety. While teams walked to their posts, a message came from far away. It came to the relay tower, and Eerie Seth saw the header at once. The same distant agency had written again. The text was polite. It suggested that Thalen 4 should accept an oversight package to manage all aid now and later. It used many soft words and many long words. It did not say who would be in charge, but the shape of the offer was clear. It would tie a thin string from the colony to a desk far away. Eerie Seth carried the message to the hall with a quiet face. Lena read it without anger. She turned the slate so the council could see. "Would you like me to reply?" she asked. The elder sat with thoughtful eyes. "Tell them we are grateful," he said, "and tell them that we already have oversight by open eyes." "Our logs are our sunlight," Lena nodded. She wrote a short answer. It fit on a small screen and used only simple words. She added a link to the public logs with a note. "Anyone may read." The agency did not answer right away. The day moved on. Work crews placed a few more kites on ridges. Gardeners added gentle life to new soil plots and covered them with see-through cloth so wind would not lift them. In the school, the teacher from Earth started a circle of worlds. Kids brought one thing from home to share a story. A smooth stone, a string with a knot, a folded paper bird. The teacher put these on a cloth and asked for the name and the reason. Every story was small and bright. A shy child who liked machines told how his grandparent built a wind toy from a spoon and a stick. Ravi promised to help him make a new one that could spin and sing. In the workshop, Sen and Ravi cleaned the old code files. They did not erase history. They kept the comments so anyone could follow the path. They wrote instructions for the next crew who would open these boxes years from now. "If you are here," Sen wrote, "thank you. This is what we did and why." She felt a deep peace while she wrote, the kind that comes when work and kindness walk side by side. Just after noon, a small tremor shook the ground. It was not dangerous, but people stilled and looked to the sky by habit. The ring passed overhead again, smooth as before. A light at the relay tower blinked in a new way. Eerie Seth checked his board. It was a visit request from a nearby world, Brindle 9. The header said, "We read your logs. We wish to learn." The council gathered in quick excitement. It felt strange and good to be asked for help instead of only receiving it. Lena suggested a shared call. The first connection hummed into life, and a screen in the hall showed a wide room full of people with bright scarves on their shoulders. A woman on Brindle 9 spoke with careful grace. "We saw your kites," she said. "We saw your teaching circle. We have dry valleys too. May we copy your plan?" The elder smiled in a way that made his cheeks look young. "Please do," he said. "We will send our notes, and we would like to hear your songs." That afternoon became a weave of hands and voices across space. Children from both worlds waved and showed drawings. A gardener on Thalen 4 explained how to anchor a kite if the wind liked to tug too hard. A farmer on Brindle 9 shared a trick for starting seeds in cloth pockets that could be planted whole. The Armada simply carried these trades like a quiet river gives a ride to little boats. Lena watched and kept the logs clear. She felt proud, not in a heavy way, but in a light way that warmed the chest. As the sun lowered, the agency replied at last. The new note was shorter. It said they had reviewed the open records and would observe without intervention. It also said they would like a courtesy copy of the final reports. The elder nodded and said, "Everyone may have a copy. We have nothing to hide." He looked at Iriseth and added, "Sometimes the best shield is a window." That evening, the council planned a welcome day for the next sunrise. Not a grand parade, just food in the square, music by local players, and small stands where people could talk to teams about work. Lena accepted, but she made one request. "Please let our crews bring dishes too," she said. "We would like to share recipes, not only repairs." The council laughed, agreed, and asked her to bring tea again. Night fell gentle and cool. The Armada looked like a necklace of soft lamps in the high dark. The hospital ship sent its regular ping, checks passed, air clear, monitors calm. A transport tug wrote a funny line in the log about learning to pronounce a local cheese. It made many readers smile. Laughter also builds trust, even if the joke is small and silly. Dawn of the welcome day arrived with a clear sky and a breeze that smelled like warm stone. Stalls appeared in the square with breads, soups, and sweet fruit water. Human crews brought simple dishes from many places on Earth. People tasted and traded recipes. A cook from the fleet taught a new way to grill flatbread on an old tool. A baker from the colony showed how to braid dough to make a pretty crust. Music rose and fell. It was not loud, but it filled the space from end to end. Lena stood with the elder and watched friends form across small language gaps. The teacher from Earth started a word line on a long cloth. Anyone could write a word that felt important to them that day. By noon, the cloth showed words in many scripts. Some curved, some square, some like little rivers. Near the center, someone wrote neighbor. Someone else added welcome. A child painted a simple cup of tea, the same design from the chalk slate in the hall. People clapped, and the sound felt like wings. In the middle of all of this, Iriseth walked to the platform and asked if he could speak. He held the small cracked key from the relay in his hand. He had removed it today, after installing a cleaner panel with clear labels. He lifted the key so people could see. "This is the mistake I made," he said in a steady voice. "It sent our call. It scared me at first, but it also opened a door. I would like to give it to the school so the children remember 2 lessons. Label your tools and do not be afraid to ask for help." The square went quiet and then filled with soft, warm sound. The teacher took the key with both hands and promised to place it where all could see. During the afternoon, small workshops lined the edge of the square. A code table let anyone read the ring's logs and ask questions. A farm table had seed trays and gentle microscopes that showed the friendly life that hugged roots. A crafts table taught wind toys. Ravi and the shy child built a tiny spinner that sang a soft note when the breeze turned it. The child laughed and ran with it through the square, leaving a ribbon of sound behind like a bright line drawn in air. Late in the day, new signals came into the relay. Not SOS, but greetings. A mining outpost sent a note that said, "We are fine, but we liked your soil trick. Can we try it in planters?" An old station asked if it could host a copy of the Promise Charter on its wall. The world felt a little closer and also a little bigger. It was as if a window had been opened in a room that people did not know was shut. As sunset came, the elder and Lena wrote a short message together. It was addressed to anyone listening. They kept it simple. It said, "We sent a call by mistake." Kind people answered. They did not ask for payment. They worked in daylight and open words. "We learned to help each other and to write down what we do. If you need help, you may ask. If you can help, please do. Let logs be your sunlight. Let tea be your welcome." They sent the message on the old band and the new. It went out like a quiet bell note that keeps ringing after the bell stops moving. The Armada had a plan to stay for 1 more week to finish small tasks and to make sure the ring's new rhythm held through several passes. They would leave behind a copy of their open log system, mirrored on simple hardware the colony could keep. They would also leave a small listening house on the landing field, a place with radios, books, and a kettle for tea, where any traveler or local could come, read, learn, or rest. The council loved the idea. They promised to keep the kettle full. On the last evening before the fleet's departure, people gathered one more time on the relay hill. The kites were folded for the night and lay like silver leaves on the grass. The ring made its steady walk across the velvet sky. A soft glow followed it, not from heat but from harmless ion work that made a pastel arc. The glow looked like the edge of a cloud at sunrise. Children,